And we're live. Hello, everyone. As you can see tonight, Boss Lady is not here, or Boss Man. So you're stuck with me, Bri, and Eric. So I just want to say, oh, hiya, Anthony. How you doing? Good morning, wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, good everything. So I just want to wish Viv a really good holiday. Lucky Bism, she's away to Transylvania. And I want to wish Dan get well soon. And Parker's just not feeling well tonight, so he's not on. So it's just us guys. Hiya, Sarah Louise. So I'll share it. How you guys been?
Good.
I'm just opening the screen up there a little bit so I can see the comments. Seeing as it's on. Yeah, I've been quiet, as I said. But I do apologise to everybody that joins us, expecting to see Viv and Dan. You've got my ugly mug. Sorry.
Yep. I thought it would be nice for a wee change to invite Bri on tonight. So definitely. But yeah, it's so the guys are teaching me about cryptids tonight, as it's not really my strongest point. So the guys are teaching me all about cryptids, and a lucky woman.
Well, they do say the Scottish Bigfoot is ginger as well, don't they? You never know.
Oh well.
Some of them actually are, though. Apparently, they have.
Well,
They think they come from orangutan and that kind of area for the great apes. So
yeah, same as the Chinese one.
Hi Rita. Hi William. Oh thanks, Rita. Don't tell Dan and Viv that, they'll get jealous. I know little bits about cryptids, but I'm not right into it the way that you, Viv, and Dan are. Don't get me wrong. The more I listen to you guys, the more I am. It's not one of my strongest subjects, and as I always say in my shows, my own shows, if there's something that I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. I won't sit and bullshit and try and act like I know everything about it.
Well, considering that lately from well, they call it global warming, but I don't think it really is global warming. More and more stuff is coming out from the deep sea, like giant squid. That's almost like a kraken would be in the medieval ages.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's just that technology's improved. We're venturing deeper and we're disturbing things that we've never disturbed before. I think that's the reason we're exploring more. That's the reason for the more sightings. I don't really think that there's anything different to what's already been, that's already down there, shall we say. Cryptids. I'm not a big cryptid person myself, but in this country, I don't believe that it's as big a thing as other countries. What I am more familiar with is things like bodmin beasts, these creatures that they're not supposed to be here. So in a way, they're a little bit cryptid, but they're invasive species. I believe that they're invasive species, and they survived. So they're rare, and they don't act like as normal wildlife. So when they are seen, you don't expect to see a big cat in this country, like a puma, but I do believe that they do exist, but they're rare. Now, as Eric were touching on, more and more sightings, as we expand our range, other creatures, we're crossing their paths. I don't think it's a case of they're crossing our path. We're crossing their path. So, in fact, mountain lion. The mountain lion apparently is being seen more and more. Why? Because we're encroaching on their territory, as well as expanding.
Well, think about all the species that you do come across, especially in Scotland, UK, Ireland. I mean, everybody's talking about for centuries about fairies.
Fisher Tale.
Those qualify as.
I know there's supposed to be sightings of what they class as a terrifying Scots big grey man, and what they're saying is it could be causing by a rare alien atmospheric anomaly. Apparently it's been sighted in the Cairngorms. That apparently it's a towering beast with pointed ears. So that's a really interesting one for Scotland. I think there's been 8 occasions between 1891, and 1943 where the sightings have been seen. They call it the Big Grey Man of Ben McDourry. I might be pronouncing that wrong. I might be slaughtering that name. And it's even been ranged from 20 foot with broad shoulders, a humanoid, to a grey figure standing at half the height with talons for toes. So it's definitely an interesting one when you really do actually look at it. Bri, you're doing Dan Proud. Baldy again. I had heard on yesterday.
Yes.
I'll be plugging into your show tomorrow night, Scott, because you ain't stealing my homeboy. Anthony says, do you think that humans playing around DNA with Mother Nature animals? What's your thoughts, guys?
Yeah. In some cases, again, what you've got to remember is human nature, and humans are notorious for exaggerating and telling porkies. So what's true and what's not? Again, if you're going to be caught as well, there's a lot of things where people have been caught where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the time, they come up with a fantastic excuse. Oh, we saw this and we thought we'd follow it. And what do they come out with? They come out with other people's stories. And that's why, in my belief, why they differ so much. Or in some cases, why they're identical to other people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the only cryptid that I know of that we've got, I'll go into it, is Owlman. And he's quite modern. He comes from Cornwall, in a place called, I'm referring to notes, done my own work, Lois. Mornan Church in Cornwall. And it was a couple of teenage girls. Mellings was one of them. And this creature seemed to follow this family of Mellings. And it's described as quite tall, 6 footish, again, grey with big ears and talons. But this is the Owlman of Cornwall. And the sighting started in 1976 and continued till 1995. Official explanations were that a great grey owl, which is quite a big bird, escaped. So it were an escapee. It has a screeching hoot, and the female is a bit like a tawny owl. The female screeches, the male hoots. So, and these sounds were heard. And again, from a big animal, it's going to be a big sound. And people exaggerate. But again, it would go as well, lifespan-wise, because these animals live 30, 40 years. So 76 to 95 fits.
Yeah, it does.
It's not been seen and heard since. So you never know. But this were Cornwall. There is other people like Leopard Man of Scotland, which was an actual person. But you can imagine if you came across that, guys, that were living in a leotard in a cave in Scotland, and you were walking and come across that geezer, that'd be a cryptid, wouldn't it? Oh, that'd be a story. But this were an actual person. He was
It's crazy.
tattooed. Yeah, he was
What about,
tattooed.
yeah. What about yourself, Eric? What's your opinion on it?
On all men or just cryptids in general?
Just what Anthony asked about. Do you think like humans playing around DNA with Mother Nature animals?
Well, we
Yeah.
have, but I don't
China more than anybody.
Uh,
think what happens, well, you hear all these nuclear power plants, and especially in America,
Yeah.
and any natural disaster happens with nuclear radiation. I think that's what happens once in a great while is you get some kind of deformed animal and people see it and they're like, okay, well, that's a cryptid to me. That's unexplainable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that in a way is answering Anthony's question. Where DNA is concerned, it's not man interfering in that respect. On purpose, it's an accidental interference. The proof of the pudding, though, is actually Chernobyl, because what they expected to find, mutation-wise, didn't really happen. And it's been documented by a couple of famous people, believe it or not. One is a guy that does fishing on our TV screens. They call him Jeremy Wade, and he's a fisherman. Fishes all the rivers of the world looking for these people killers and giving an explanation. And he went to Chernobyl and expecting to find these massive mutant catfish. And in actual fact, because their prey had diminished, so had they. The only thing that was normal size were the heads on them.
Yeah.
Everything else had actually got smaller.
Wow.
So, unlike what the 50s films and this and other portrayed as massive mutants, the opposite happened. Creatures got smaller because their prey was smaller and less of, so they didn't grow to the sizes they expected.
Yeah.
The only thing they did find that was anything like true fabled mutations of the 50s films was they found a few deer with two heads, which again were obviously radiation contamination. But apart from that, anyway, I'm rambling like somebody else talk.
Right, it's fine. So, Eric, what's your thoughts, honey?
On the mutations, I've seen a few, but not many. And they happen to have, it's like a squirrel that's not supposed to be, a squirrel color. It's black or it's white and black. We got in the South, they have the lizard man that apparently happened because of the nuclear radiation in the area. So,
yeah. Mutations tend to happen when there's a lack of DNA, not when it's being manipulated. So, inbredness, for example, that is what causes more mutations than actually interfering.
No, absolutely.
Scott says, Lois, mine next coming home tomorrow night. Aye, is he? Fuck, he'll be back at mine by Thursday. I'll kick you in the shins on Thursday. Hiya, James, how you doing?
Evening, James. Nice to see you.
I've already sent him his... I'll tell him to burn that top. I think genetic experiment isn't out of the question. I don't rule it out at all, Chantel. Rita's waiting for her spooky paranormal stuff. And James says Ukraine was full of biolabs. I say was Putin destroyed them.
Hey, dear, listen to this. Dear, you are spooky and paranormal.
See when I've looked at cryptids, I've seen that. I've often wondered where the actual term cryptids came from, and when I looked at it, it's about animals whose existence is unproven. For example, a winged beast with cloven hooves and the head of a goat stalking the New Jersey Pine Barrens. Yeah. It's crazy. Don't get me wrong, it's a really interesting one.
Yeah, the word cryptid means it's unexplained.
Yep.
It's vague. Basically, the word is vague. a vague description, not a correct, possibly a anatomically correct description.
Oh, sorry.
And
I,
that's you have to either find it dead or capture it in order for it to, be proven to be fact. So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a guy that I've read that's a skeptic. His name's Michael Sheamer, who wrote the following breakdown, and he wrote an article, Bomb with Science, around origins of the Yeti, Nessie, and other famous cryptids. And about it says, in order to name a new species, scientists who name and classify organisms. Good, I'm actually quite proud I pronounced that right. That could have really turned this show round if I had said it wrong. Must have a type A specimen, a holotype from which a detailed description can be made, photographs taken, models cast, and a professional scientific analysis published. It's pretty true. You've got to take these stages to kind of work out, and it makes you wonder, where did they come up with the terms, like, why did they name Nessie Nessie?
Yeah.
Like, why did...
We've got a viewer that can name quite a few things. He's got a very colourful way of explaining things.
Well, somebody has to name them, though. I mean, think about it. When going through history, you got to name who named a bird,
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose, why did you call a car a car?
Yeah.
Where did it all come?
It's an automobile.
Well, an automobile if you want to be posh.
Car comes from the shortening of carriage. I can explain that one.
Well,
the British language it's, we've got so many words for one thing. It's unreal.
I mean, look at the guy, and I always talk about him, and I don't know if he maybe has internet where he is, right? But I would love to interview him as the guy that gave up his life. Actually gave up his life, gave up his job, gave up his, his house, the full shebang to go and live in Loch Ness. I know his name's Steve, but I can't quite get his second name.
Yeah, there's a couple actually. There's a couple of them that's done the same thing.
What about America, Eric? What have you got in America? Tell us what sort of things you've got in America.
I've heard about the Wolfman. Oh my gosh, Bigfoot. So Wolfman. We had the Owlman. I know that. I've heard stories of that. Geez, we got the Skinwalkers. A whole bunch of them. I think Mexico has what do you call it? Chupacabra.
Yeah,
that's Mexican, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know how you can pronounce that. I would chop that word up because I'd try to get my tongue round that. So fair play, Eric, for being able to pronounce that.
Where that's concerned, Chupacabra, that's one of the few that's actually been found and being documented. Now, it is an animal. It's a bit like a cross between a coyote and something else, but it's almost like it's a vampire. It craves blood because it's got a disorder in its system. This is why it's not got very much hair on it, and it's a particular colour. It's a black colour, but not black, if you know what I mean.
Hey, Rob.
Devoid of blood. Evening, Robert. So that's something that's been caught. It's a little bit like Australian Tasmanian tiger. It's an actual species, but there's not many being found. So it's not actually considered a cryptid anymore. Cryptids are unknown. Oh, what happened there?
I know.
A shock then.
No, but I know. I tried that. I tried that the other night. Sorry, my cats are coming in here because my shopping's coming. I tried that the other night. It probably works better when you've got more people in StreamYard that brings them closer. Because I thought to myself, we all look so far away, and then when I hit the button there, I was like, apologies, that's automatically made us like, vroom.
Yeah, scared me.
I know, I scare myself when I look in the mirror. But, I mean, when I look at Nessie, I'm quite sceptical, right? And people will laugh when I say this. I'm quite sceptical when it comes to Nessie.
See, and a lot of people are, but I've seen some really good pictures of it, so I kind of believe it more than most people do.
Uh-huh.
2023, a guy actually caught. Well, Scotland's water is so clear, and he took an aerial picture of it, and it's would be the size of and looks like it has the long head and neck with the wide body. So
Yeah, there's that many different sightings and that many
Uh-huh.
different explanations. Loch Ness, it's an odd, geologically it's odd as well, because it's not very wide, but by Christ, it's deeper than a lot of oceans. So, and there's a lot of places down there. There is caves along the shoreline underwater where something could quite simply hide away, live a little bit like catfish in America, in these hollows.
Aye.
So
I mean,
it's possible. It's possible. But
I mean,
let's examine that one. What started the Nessie fable? What started it? It started in 1920s with a circus. It was a circus that was famous for the first sighting of Nessie, and it's the one with the long neck and the head. It turns out that when you examine that photo, how it was examined, it was actually an elephant's trunk, and it was a circus, and the elephant trainer took the elephants and washed them, bathed them in Loch Ness. Somebody quite craftily took a picture of a submerged elephant with its trunk out of water, and that became synonymous with Loch Ness. Nessie. So, and it all started from there.
They say like about plesiosauruses for the record were sea-going reptiles that coexisted with dinosaurs between about 201 and 66 million years ago.
Yeah.
Many species had long necks, small heads, and needle-sharp teeth. So it really could be anything, Chantel says, but still. Right, Eric, what's that word?
What? But still, chupacabra is a hairless type of dog.
Mainly found or seen in Mexico. I love because you can say that word better than me. Funnily though, a Mexican hairless dog is a very common breed in Mexico. So how much is mistaken identity? James says, I would really love to visit Skinwalker Ranch. So much activity recorded over there in decades. I would love to. That is my ultimate dream as well. Loch Ness is 21 miles long. Chantel says so many Nessie pics have proven fake, so the real ones are met with skepticism because of the fakers. Hashtag you're about 5 feet, can't see a thing, water's full of peat. Hiya, Kelly Sharon Jane Green. She says hi from SWYPT, Southwest Yorkshire Paranormal Team. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I mean, going back to Chantel's comment, there is so much fakery. That's the problem, and this is what I was talking about last night in Chris's show. Was it's amazing and it's quite scary what you can do with photos these days. Now, I could go on easily, right? Go to a location, take photos, upload them, and I can mess about with them. Now, I don't know how to do all that because I'm no Harvey step. So it's took me ages to even work StreamYard. I said, so I'm no good at that, like uploading. I can upload pictures and things like that, but I couldn't do all this photoshopping. But it is easy, and it is scary these days how you can, even mobile phones, the Google Pixel, you can take a picture if we don't want somebody, maybe say we had a group picture and me and Eric fell out, I can easily take Eric out that picture, and
Yeah.
nobody would be none the wiser if I didn't upload it.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, it is
Chris.
scary. It's beyond.
Yeah, I just can't say his name, Kelly, because the way it comes out in Scottish, it sounds so wrong. So I thought, nah. This thing is meant to be about the size of a small van.
See it? Cool.
Hiya, Liz. Hiya, love. Hope you're well. But yeah, I mean, it's scary the amount of technology, and technology is going to advance even more
Yep.
as the years go on.
Well, AI is literally just shoving us out a picture. It's going to create its own programs before long. Somebody's going to introduce an AI which it learns as it goes along, and it'll start putting programs out, start doing things, and people's going to be watching thinking it's a real person and it's not.
Yep.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah, he's on my show, Kelly, every Thursday. And I'm working with him on his cold cases as well. Chantel says, yeah, you can a pic of the craters on the moon with your phone nowadays. Yeah,
Yeah.
every cryptid picture of UFO pic is terrible quality. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I
So,
think that rubs onto UFO field. That is the worst field going at the moment. I'm disgusted with it because they're into day goes past where I don't see 2 or 3 posts, and they're putting these pictures up, and that's what's brought it to memory. Chantal mentioned these pictures at Moon, and there'll be an alien craft floating across front on it. Now it's all AI, but it's scary how good quality it is these days. At one time, you couldn't tell. You could tell because you'd see a pixel around it. You know what I mean? You knew it was superimposed. But these days, no, it's fantastic, fantastic imagery. You can't even feel the distance on some of these pictures. It's unreal. It's sad that people are doing it though. Why would you want to fake something like that? It's doing our field a disservice for me.
Yep.
We should keep it real. Really should.
but what's ending up happening in the paranormal world is, and this is many discussions that I have had with many people, is the problem we've got in the paranormal now is genuine investigators who are really interested in the field don't want to post pics, because with the best way forward in the paranormal, you want to put up your pictures, but you could have the best evidence and it could be right in your face. And the comments that you get are so horrible, and then it turns so personal that no one wants to put up their work anymore. People would rather set up a group, like myself, set up a group as your closest friends and basically share work in there, because you could, I mean, I watched a group that will remain nameless. It went to 70k members, and I used to call that the battlefield of fighting ground, because every day you used to see it, and that's why I left that group. Well, I left that group also because I changed Facebooks, but that group had so many arguments. Even the admin couldn't control that group because it was so. Everybody was putting up pictures. Everybody was putting articles. I mean, you could put articles, even articles so simple as, say, history about, right, for example, I put in that group tonight the history about Bigfoot. Now, it would just end up turning into carnage, because it would start, you'd get laughing emojis, you would get insults, then somebody else would jump in and say, no, I believe in Bigfoot, and then they would get abuse. It was terrible. It was the worst group I've ever was going to be done.
And that's why I've gone down a different route. And I do see all these different formats with different groups. Each to their own. Ain't got a problem with any of that. Para unity in that respect. But when I talk about para unity, I don't see it in the same way as a lot of other people. My group, my page, is not a share group. It's a private group. It's like-minded people. It's light-hearted, but it's a friendly group. If I see anything that's not friendly, it disappears. It's as simple as that. No nonsense. It disappears. I'm not having it. And it might sound as if I'm being a bit dictatorial, but I am. It's my group. It's my page.
No.
And I don't share things. And I get people practically every other day, putting other groups on, putting little bits on, and I take them off. And I take them off for a reason, because it's not a share group.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that to be awkward or nasty or anything like that. It's simply that I don't share on anybody else's group, and I don't expect anybody to do it on mine. That's all. I've never shared them. So if people want to see my stuff, they come to my group. Simple as that. And that way, it stays friendly. I don't get that bickering. I don't get that falling.
That's good. That's good to know, Kelly. Eric says, know what it is? I'm not used to seeing Eric in the comments. Automatically, in my mouth comes Eric. So I do apologise. Robert says, everyone has a mobile phone. Should be more pics of Nessie. Hits and views make money. Well, this is true. But yeah, I mean, that is, as I said, I love the paranormal. I'm going out investigating on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to it. First time I've been out in ages.
Tell us where you're going, what you're doing.
I'm going out with PIH, where they're taking me on a mystery ghost tour. So this will be great fun. I say mystery ghost tour. It's only 2 minutes up the road.
I've seen their work.
Aye. As much as I rip Baldy to shreds, he's a good still, but don't tell him I said that, because he'll think I'm being nice to him. But I definitely, I mean, it's, as I said, you could have the best pictures in the world, but still wouldn't be good enough.
Well, like everybody said before, what it comes down to is your own experience.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain to anybody else that you've been touched. I've been touched. It's great. That's my experience. And that's all.
Aye.
Yeah, I have a place called Codnor Castle, and Lady Mabel College. It's actually being done up. This is another problem that I've got as well. I don't know if I've mentioned before. I probably have. I don't do paid venues because I think they're contrived. Not all the time, but the majority of times these days, people are jumping on bandwagon because it's becoming big money, like we touched on. A lot of it's entertainment today, which is fine if that's what you want. I'm more into the natural side of things and proving that spirit exists. So for me, finding an empty building or church, or which I've done quite a lot of lately, that's empty, that I can just walk in and do my bit, and that's fantastic for me because it's natural. It's not contrived. It's not got a script to it. What you see is what you get on any given day. Whereas with a lot of these venues, they've been developed. They've got a resident ghost on hand that can perform like a circus monkey. It's not right to me. It's just it's not my thing. What's your views on that one?
Oh, mine is.
Right, Eric, you go first.
This is my complete plan on what I plan on doing, and I'll say it live right now. Me and my wife are moving to Scotland, or at least going to buy a flat there as soon as I can. And with the money that I have, I'm buying a flat and then I'm buying a castle. That's why I keep asking you weird questions about castles all the time on the regular. Because I want to know if the castle's haunted, because I want to open it up for free for investigators to come in and just charge, like for weddings and stuff. If people want to have weddings there, that's how I plan on making money out of it.
That's good. You've got a plan. This is what I'm saying. But it just proves my point. You're quite a natural fellow, Eric, but even you've got a plan. You see what I'm saying? So if you can do that, most people are doing it. And that I admire you for opening it to public and just letting them do whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Aye,
fantastic.
because there's many places, Eric, and this is from my own experience, where most of the venues I've been to always charge without a shadow of a doubt. There's one in particular that comes to mind right now that I know for a fact that a team paid 300 quid for, and when I personally asked them, and they were only willing to give me one room for £800. I said, nah, you can take
Exactly.
that. I'm at,
It's beyond.
and
There's
the
a place
room
I
is
could
not
do.
much.
Well, the only
Sorry,
difference with mine is that I'm only letting teams in or people that I know that are seeking the truth
Yeah.
want bakery, and that's the only thing I want to allow there. If I see that one bit, and I'll be on every single investigation because it's my place. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, that side of things, you've got to be covered legally, and you need people to sign something that says, nothing leaves here without your permission, basically.
Rob
Otherwise,
says, I learned a thing yesterday. Most of the hit records and famous musicians tune their instruments to the God Notice 432 kilohertz. I didn't know that, Robert.
Well, is that the frequency? Is it?
That's your favourite subject, right?
It is. It is. Frequency is everything.
Oh God, I definitely like.
I know it also contributes to quantum physics, and quantum physics is the key to all frequency.
Eric, I heard that wee bit until you said quantum physics, and now it just sounds fucking gibberish to me. I'm not good with this subject.
I think there's a guy that's watching, our friend William. I think he can understand that more than any of us.
William Becker, he's an intelligent man. Robert says Prince, John Lennon, Freddie Mercury. Good thingers. I totally agree. I can hear that, but quantum physics, oh no. There is a guy in the I wouldn't class him paranormal because he just runs down everything that you say, right? But there is a guy that has his own group, and it's about quantum physics. Sorry, my partner's laughing. He's watching a YouTube video about cars. Basically, this gentleman has a group about quantum physics, and he is a very, very intelligent guy. He'd be alright if he just stopped running people over, like literally. I don't mean he's literally running them over, like knocking them down with a car or anything, but he's just one of the most rudest guys I've ever met in my life. But he's very, very smart, very, very brainy.
It's a selected audience, that's the problem. If you want to connect and reach as many people as you can, you've got to be as open and as layman as you can.
Oh God, this guy, he misses and hits no walls. Bells will be ringing. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. That just says Things Network. I'm guessing by your writing it might be Jeremy, but I could be wrong. Oh, it's Chris. I'm going to kick you in the shins, Chris. Because he said, basically what happened yesterday, Eric, was before last night I had a live prior with Chris. And we were talking about Area 51.
Naked.
And basically what happened was we were talking about I can't even remember. It was something to do with Rhesus negative. That's what it is. I brought it up. It was that myth of Rhesus negative. People say that's alien blood, right? And the more I was saying it, the more I was looking at Chris and I'm thinking to myself, he's looking at me funny, but I didn't think anything of it. I just went, oh, maybe he's thinking. He kept thinking that I was saying naked, so he's ready to mute me, and he was letting me run with it. Until somebody actually came up in the comments and said, Reese is negative. So I really need to slow down when I'm talking to Chris. I just presume that he will understand me and I go at 100 miles per hour. So yeah. So I wasn't asking Chris to get naked in any way, shape or form.
I understood what he was trying to say. The only reason why I can mostly understand you is because I'm so used to hearing it. Because that's one of the groups I was interested in, is a group from Scotland. And then I tell you, the Glasgowian accent is a lot thicker than the regular Scottish accent too.
Well, that is my thoughts, right? When you listen to me in a podcast, and when you listen to Scott in a podcast, me and Scott have got two different accents, and Scott's is a lot broader than mine. So yeah, so sometimes I forget, so I just presume that everybody understands, and I start, Yep, I love the Fife accent. I really do like the Fife accent. But the further and I'm sure you find this in America and England, the further down or the further up that you go, the accent gets broader and broader and broader. And see, by the time that you get to the top of Scotland, oh my God, I've worked with people that's from like the Shetlands and the Orkneys, and I can't really understand what they're saying, but I just say aye.
Is there still a place in Scotland? Because I know there is in Wales that still speak Gaelic.
Yes.
Right, because I'm not aware of that anymore. But what I am aware of, I mean, we've been invading your buggers for ages, so it's like back in the day there were Highland speak and there were Lowland speak. And traditionally speaking, your Highland more royalist and English in nature, so they were posh, Scottish.
Yeah.
And your Lowlanders were your Muggles.
Yeah.
So that were a broader accent, a lot broader.
See Robbie Crossan talks a lot of Gaelic, because there's some things that he'll say and I'm like, what you saying? Or like he is pretty good at Latin as well.
Yeah,
because when he's obviously
teaching. There is a place in Wales that they've actually started teaching Welsh in Wales again. They stopped it for quite some time.
Hey, Lauren.
Hello.
Annette says, apparently us in Manchester sound very common. What the hell? It's a Manchester accent. I love the Manchester accent as well. The Highlands star at Perth. But yeah, it is a love. Obviously, like, as I said, I don't know. You've got to find this strange, but as a Scottish person, I couldn't speak Gaelic. Like, I can't pronounce half the words. Fuck, I can't even pronounce some of the names in, like, Wales places names because of that long with letters. I'm like, holy jeez.
That problem. They couldn't conquer Welsh language, so they gave everybody. This is where the common names came from, like Smith and Johnson, because they couldn't pronounce their professions. So they gave them common names, like Smith as a smithy, John's son, because they couldn't understand the surname, so they just called him John.
I love that. I just want to quickly wish a very happy birthday to the gorgeous Laura Dawson. Happy birthday, gorgeous. Looking forward to seeing you Tuesday as well. So what about America? What's some of the accents there?
There, especially in Scotland, I noticed a lot of different cultures all have that Scottish accent, or at least some type of it. Here, if you come from Asia, it sounds Asian. If you come from India, it sounds Indian, you know.
Yeah. There's a Scottish comedian, and he's an Indian, and that is a very, very weird. He's a Glaswegian actually, so it's weird to hear that
They
mashup
were
between
funny.
Indian and Scottish.
Do you know who I really like? Like there is a guy on TikTok, and he's I think he's Asian. He is Asian, and he's just so funny. He just starts it off, and you wouldn't think so because he's just pure Scottish. He says, "Hello, shaggers and shaggettes." I'm like, oh my god!
Oh,
But
there's one that's just reminded me and all. He's a London fella, actually, and he does the Scottish thing. He puts that berry on,
oh
tartan berry,
yeah,
pulls the face and runs into a shop buying iron brew. Just reminded me of you.
I
Speaking
I
of that,
must.
I looked for it today. Here in where I live, you cannot
Uh,
Walgreens or
Right.
Walmart.
Yeah,
oh, can
Walmart.
you
You
not?
can't do it.
I looked
He
for it.
says, he says on Google you can.
Annette says the Welsh language is apparently the oldest in Britain. I used to go to college. The course that I've just finished is a guy is from Welsh, and sometimes he spoke in Welsh tongues, and I just didn't understand them. Just
Yeah.
didn't. And it's
There is a
funny they want.
there's a few dialects from Scotland, though. I mean, it's not just Gaelic. The what ward? Forgot what the one and all. There's another one as well, but they were confined to northwest coast, and
I
then
totally agree, Robert. Aberdeen, they do speak so fast. Oops. Um, Lauren says I have a Boston, Massachusetts accent. I'm quite glad. Maybe somebody's struck me with lightning. I can actually pronounce words tonight. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. That is 30-minute drive from Boston, Massachusetts. I went to the same high school. Boxer is Rocky Masona. Am I pronouncing that right, Eric?
Marciano.
Yeah.
Marciano, Brockton High School. Do you know what I really, really love? And I can't actually pinpoint where in America the accent's from. I think it's from New York. But see some of the way that the gangsters speak.
Yes, I know what you're talking
Oh,
about. We're going to
how
mention that actually. Chicago.
I
It's Chicago.
love
They have
it.
got an Italian twang. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I just love it. See when I watch like Goodfellas and that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the Italian influence, and it's big in Chicago. So yeah, I
I love it.
do like accents.
Yeah.
I like the twang that Native Americans have got as well.
Yeah, so do I.
I just love
So
doing it.
almost Eskimo. And
Lauren
that's
says New York and Boston accents are similar. I didn't know that, Lauren.
Yeah. We'll have to get you on, Lauren.
We have to definitely in Frighteners. But
Yeah.
that's what I love about these shows. You go down one rabbit hole and you'll come up through the other.
Yes.
And see what happened. People are always asking me if I'm from New York. But it is one country I would really love to visit, Lauren and Eric. It is a beautiful. I think it would be really, really beautiful.
It is, but it's scary to me, even though I'm probably in the most safest spot you could be in all of America. Because I'm always afraid someone's going to be able to pull a gun because you can legally carry a gun concealed.
I know.
Yeah.
I can
That's one beautiful
understand
part
that.
of the country. We never went down that route. We've always banned firearms and that. So surprisingly, for one of most what's the word? Heavily populated countries for its size, we haven't got that much violence. Although we hear about it every day, that's only through media being so common.
Yeah.
In actual fact, there's not that much outside of the countries.
Yeah, the only problem I have is with them still legalizing guns and the fact that somebody at 18 years old can go buy a firearm, a fully automatic firearm, take it to a school and kill many, many kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like Manchester, they're not legal, but it's nicknamed Gunchester. Lawrence
Yeah.
says, I live in North Virginia now. I am half-hour drive from Washington, D.C. If you're not if you're not in a city in Scotland, a stone's throw you're in the wilderness. Aye, that's the big thing about Scotland.
I
Well,
noticed that when I went up there, Lois. Christ. And 1 minute I'm in a sprawling estate, next minute there's mountains, there's nothing. I'm thinking,
yep. And it's the same in Ayrshire. When you come obviously into places like where I stay, right? I stay in Stevenson, right? And then you've got the next one that it's called the Three Towns because there's three towns that's literally sometimes you wouldn't know what one you were in because there's nothing but a straight road into each. So you've got obviously Stevenson straight into Saltcoats into Ardrossan.
Yeah.
So it's that. And what I love about Ardrossan is you come out of Ardrossan and you're onto the Sea Mill Road and it's a beautiful road because all you can see is water. You can see, hills and I just love it. Even where I used to work in a wee small village and from my client's house, well, sorry, heaven forbid, God rest his soul. But what I could used to see from my client's window is I used to see the Fairlie Moors, and honestly, seeing the most clearest day, you can see right over the Arran. And I never knew that until me and my partner went a walk on the Fairlie Moors, and
is
he
that the
told me
old
to
dock
turn round.
road? Is that the
What,
old dock
darling?
road? Is that the old dock road from what they call Old Air, where
I'm not.
holiday B&Bs are?
No. What you're thinking is the other. You're thinking just outside there, near the caravan park that's called Craig Tara, where it's the Carrick Hills and Dunure.
No,
That's it.
old tenement streets. It's smack outside at Old Docks. It's just one road though now. There's no docks left, is there? But
Uh,
the remnants are there.
I mean, it is beautiful, but I can understand what they're saying because there is a lot of, especially in Ayrshire, there is a lot of wee country roads and there's hills and there's water and I suppose that's the best thing about living in Ayrshire. You are practically, I suppose, depending where you're living, you're in the middle of nowhere. I think there's one row of houses when you are coming out towards Ayr Hospital and you're driving right through as if you're heading to a place called Patna. And on the way just before Patna, there's like a row of houses, but there's only 5 houses
Yeah.
in the passing. But I would definitely wouldn't change it for all the tea in China. Wait a minute. And it says Scotland's a beautiful place. Everyone sings the Susan Boyle or Lewis Capaldi. We Lawrence says we have a Manchester, Massachusetts, and a Manchester, New Hampshire in the States. It's amazing the amount of places that have got English names.
Oh yeah.
We've been to the Liz says we've been to the States twice, investigated some outstanding locations in the New York State, then Arizona and Nevada. They loved our Irish accents.
Yeah,
I don't blame them, Liz. I love the Irish accents. And it
Yeah,
says Riley Island's lovely in the Clyde.
Yeah. You see, what you've got to consider is from England, you've got all three colonies. You've got Australia, you've got New Zealand, you've got America. And so most of the places were technically our name.
I'll read it when I get a chance, my love.
I went through a village other week, And I didn't realise that we'd actually got one. I thought it was unique to America, but it's not. It exists in all 3 colonies, and that's New York.
Yep.
But it's a village.
Oh.
It's a village in England. And I didn't know that myself, but I went through it, and then I thought, right, I'll have a look at that, and I Googled it, and there's a New York in
Sabrina.
all 3 colonies, America and Australia and New Zealand.
You got to remember, at one point, America was part of the British. So,
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Well, look at how many times, right, when we look at ancestry, especially, um, especially when you look at places like, right, for example, right, I'm sorry, I'm totally off my track now.
no,
Look at how far close, right, when you look at your DNA ancestry. I've never done it, right, but see them when Americans that I've spoke to that have got Scottish like ancestry, and then when you look at like some people in Scotland that have done their ancestry, that have got American ancestry, it's pretty mental because you think, look at how far close the Scots and the American are, and when obviously American hear Scottish accents, they go nuts. It's like, oh my god, because I can remember when my gran took me on a trip years and years and years ago, and it was I think it was a church one, don't quote me, and I can't remember where we were, but I can remember, I'm getting a flash at the now, I can remember obviously the play park, and these kids ran up to me, and I loved their accent. It was an American accent, and I was memorised by it, and I started speaking back to them,
Yeah.
and suddenly they just stopped talking, and I couldn't understand why, and I'm like talking away, talking, and I kind of felt awkward because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if I'd said something wrong, and I said to one of them, I said, if I said something wrong, I says, or no, we just love the Scottish accent. Keep talking, and I felt kind of like, right, okay. So I just like, I think I ended up just making up things in my head so that I could speak to them.
Yeah. So you don't know your DNA then? You don't know your ancestry? What about you, Eric?
My guess is, if I had to guess what mine was, I would say part of mine would be Italian, but only because I've got a temper like an Italian.
Norwegian. I'd say it was Norwegian or
I'm
that.
Irish.
Sorry, Eric, you broke up there, honey.
I said the Irish have tempers like that too. So,
Yeah.
Maybe Irish, you never know.
Yeah. What about you, Eric?
oh, I'm Irish and German, half German, half.
Right. And I'm Prussian.
Yeah.
Are you Russian? Oh, Prussian.
royalty. Prussian royalty. 1500s.
Oh, wow.
We've gone back with family tree that far. Now, before that, I don't know. But you can, through skin type, actually find a lot of your ancestry. So,
What Bobby, I'll read some of these comments. Bobby says, born and raised in NY, the Hudson Valley. Robert says, the Highland Clearances. Sarah Louise says, I wonder if in America there is any large Welsh communities. Is there any large Welsh communities in America?
yeah.
If we have any, I've seen a few, and it's very small communities, but it's a whole little town. But they're like scattered all over. You know, there's maybe 3 of them with all that I know of, at least from here, this part of America, I should say.
Yeah. You tend to find with things like that, to find your populations, it's an exodus, and it tends to go on work availability, and a lot of Welsh emigrated to look for work in slate mines. So if you know any areas in America where it were rich for slate, then you can usually find a population stemming from there.
Bobby says the Dutch were the first in America.
Yep, Germans.
The The Dutch
Mhm.
were the first in America, then the British came, and as you know, that didn't work out so well. The revolution started in NY. I have Scottish, John has Scottish, Irish, British, Swedish, German, and French. That's a sure hell of a lot, Lauren. Liz says, well, and you.
Go on.
No, and you go, love.
No, go on. Read that one first.
Right, Liz says, while in New York, I was often asked if I knew the village that their great-grandparents came from.
Right.
Bobby says, correction, not the first to America, but the first to settle in Kingston, New York.
Yeah.
Verena, am I pronouncing that right, Verena? I have French, Irish, Scottish, Greek, and Italian in me. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Bobby
Wow.
says, America started in Kingston, NY, and Bobby's English, Scottish, and Dutch.
Mm.
It's okay, Bobby, it's fine.
Yeah, but
Robert says that's like the American Red Indians. They built the skyscrapers.
Mm.
And Annette says, I'm Irish, Scotch, and Jewish.
Yeah. And Irish, I was going to mention Irish. The
Mm.
Irish left Ireland during potato crisis,
Yep.
and they went shipbuilding. So they moved to shipbuilding areas like Chicago, and that's why you get an influx of Irish and Italian families in Chicago. So
It's definitely it's been a good show, guys.
my God,
I'm
have we done
I'm a
anything
skint
yet?
I'm a skint Scottish woman, so I can totally hear that, sister.
That can't
But
be
I just
true. That can't be true, Annette. I'm sorry, you don't get skink Jewish.
but I just want to first of all thank you two gentlemen for helping me cover the show tonight. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Bri, for coming on. I know it's a bit unusual for you on a Tuesday night to be coming on, but thank you very much. Thank you, Eric, for coming on, my love.
No problem.
But guys, we will see you. Well, tomorrow, I know there's no Simply Spooky show tomorrow night, guys, so that's out the window. Thursday, the crime show. We are interviewing Grizzly Chris. So I actually said that. Good. Catch me in other days, and I won't say it good. So I'm touchy with maybe it's going in. Friday on Frighteners, we don't have a guest. Wait a minute, I will make sure that actually. I actually don't think. I think I said to you guys for the next 3 weeks we actually don't have guests. We don't have guests, so we'll just be having probably a general chit chat that night.
And we might end
But-
up inviting somebody. But there you go. That's another story.
Oh, surprises, surprises. But definitely, guys, check us out. And we will see you next time. I'll quickly run through the last comments. My 10th time great grandfather was a king in Ireland. Oh wow, Lauren, interesting. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Nettie. Thanks, Verena. Night, Sarah Louise, but thank you so much, guys. And remember, guys, without you, we wouldn't have these shows, but thank you very much, guys.